Here, ma'am.
Mr. Daniel,
Here, ma'am.
Mr. Jerry Hooper,
Here, ma'am.
Mr. Ricky Hooper,
Here, ma'am.
Mr. Hurt,
Here, ma'am.
Ms. McClanahan,
Here, ma'am.
Mr. Malone,
Here, ma'am.
Mr. Mayberry, Ms. Phillips, Mr. Rochelle,
Here.
Mr. Tidwell,
Here, ma'am.
Ms. Turner,
Here.
Mr. Wagner,
Here, ma'am.
all present.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. All present. We do have a quorum. Everyone should have a copy of the previous minutes for your consideration. If you've had a chance to look at them, we'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Motion, Ms. McClanahan, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Daniels. All those in favor of approving, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. Report and communication from county executive. I would like to say, you all know my sister passed away, and I went out of town for her funeral and visitation, and I want you to know that I very much appreciate the kind gesture of sending flowers and arrangement to that. It's very much appreciated. And for everyone else that sent their condolences and so forth, I really appreciate that. I do have a little bit of an address, but it's budget related, and my suggestion would be that we'll get on with the meeting, get through all of our resolutions, and then when we transition to the budget meeting, I'd like to address you with your permission. Next on is citizen petition and grievances. Mr. Tim Daniel.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm Mike Burton. I just wanted to apologize for the people that I've talked to this week. Won't know why my mic was cut off, and I have no earthly idea. I know Mr. Hooper went in the back and come back out while we was in recess, and I apologize for him, but I appreciate y'all's comments and all, but Mr. Ricky Hooper said he would check it out, and so nobody wouldn't get dinged or anything, so maybe we can get all that took care of, but I appreciate it.
Okay. Mr. Jerry Hooper.
Thank you, Mr. Pagriba. Mr. Daniel, what are you apologizing for me for?
My mic wasn't muted until you walked back there and muted it, so.
Okay, we'll discuss later on. No, sir, your microphone was not muted, but you will talk later. Thank you.
All right. If everybody's satisfied with that,
Yeah.
we'll move on with the meeting. First resolution. This is an appropriation resolution authorizing account transfers for the general purpose school fund. These budget amendments and transfers have been previously approved by the Board of Education, and I'm just going to kind of run down the list very quickly. Mr. Lanham gave us full detail on this at the admin meeting, but the first line is a 141 general purpose decrease of teachers by 4,000, increase of aides by the same amount of 4,000. Next is 141 general purpose career and technical, decrease of teacher and textbooks for a combined total of $7,787, increase of other salaries by that same amount. Next, 141 general purpose, decrease $1,000 in career ladder, increase other salaries by $1,000. 141 general purpose, early childhood education, voluntary pre-K, decreases of wages, certified subs, Social Security and benefits, instructional supplies, and in-service staff for a total amount of $12,480.02, with an increase of teachers, assistants, aides, non-certified subs, and benefits, and other charges in that same amount. Next is a 141 general purpose ISM, is a decrease of $71,300,599 other charges by $17,954. This is an increase to other contract services by that same amount for cover leveling, concrete pad, electrical, and student marketplace at Waverly Central High School. Next is 141 general purpose, which is summer learning camps, is an increase of revenue from state education of $274,490.99, distributed out amongst the teachers, aides, clerical, principals, benefits, employee benefits, and so forth in that same amount. This is for fiscal year 25 summer learning camps. Along with that, 141 general purpose is summer learning transportation that had an increase of revenue of $49,785.13 that goes for bus drivers, employee benefits, maintenance, repair, and fuel. Mr. Ricky Hooper.
Yes, sir. These budget amendments brought before the administrative committee to discuss. Dr. Lanham pleased to explain to us and voted to pass this full commission with a positive recommendation to accept.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none without objection, I'll call for a vote. Ms. Wilson, roll call, please.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Curtis.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Daniel.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jerry Hooper.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ricky Hooper.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hart.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. McClanahan.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Malone.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayberry.
Yes.
Ms. Phillips. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Rochelle.
Yes.
Mr. Tidwell.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Turner.
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all ayes.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. All ayes, the resolution passes. Item B, a resolution to amend the budget revenue lines of Humphreys County, Tennessee, adopted June 24, 2024 for fiscal year ending June 30, 2025. This is a 101 general fund. Account 47,170 entitled miscellaneous refunds is increased by $150. Account 51,300 entitled county executive is increased by $150 at line 355 entitled travel. Mr. Hooper.
Yes, this also brought before the administrative committee, explained and voted to pass this full commission with a positive recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Hooper. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none without objection, I'll call for a vote. Ms. Wilson, roll call, please.
Coleman.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Curtis.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Daniel.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jerry Hooper.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ricky Hooper.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hart.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. McClanahan.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Malone.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayberry.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Phillips. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Rochelle.
Yes.
Mr. Tidwell.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Turner.
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all ayes.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. All ayes, the resolution passes. Item C is a resolution to amend the budget revenue lines of Humphreys County, Tennessee, adopted on June 24, 2024 for fiscal year ending June 30, 2025. This is a 101 general fund. Account 44,570 entitled contributions and gifts is decreased by $10,000. This is from an anonymous donation that was donated to the library. The account number 56,500 entitled libraries is increased by $10,000 at line item 499 entitled other supplies and materials. Mr. Hooper.
Yes, this brought before the administrative committee, discussed and voted to pass this full meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Hooper. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none without objection, I'll call for a vote. Ms. Wilson, roll call, please.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Curtis.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Daniel.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jerry Hooper.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ricky Hooper.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hart.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. McClanahan.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Malone.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayberry.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Phillips. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Rochelle.
Yes.
Mr. Tidwell.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Turner.
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes, ma'am.
All ayes.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. All ayes, the resolution passes. Item D is a resolution to amend the budget salary lines of Humphreys County, Tennessee, adopted on June 24, 2024 for fiscal year ending June 30, 2025. This is a 101 general fund. Account 56,500 entitled library is decreased by $1,400 at line item 162 entitled clerical personnel. Account 56,500 entitled library is increased by the same amount of $1,400 at line item 169 entitled Part-Time Personnel. Mr. Hooper.
Yes, this library budget amendment brought before the administrative committee, discussed and voted to pass this full meeting of the commission.
Thank you, Mr. Hooper. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, without objection, I'll call for a vote. Ms. Wilson, roll call, please.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Curtis,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Daniel,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jerry Hooper,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ricky Hooper,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hurt. Yes, ma'am. Ms. McClanahan,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Malone,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayberry,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Phillips. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Rochelle,
Yes.
Mr. Tidwell,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes, ma'am.
all ayes.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. All ayes, the resolution passes. Item E is a resolution to amend the budget revenue lines of Humphreys County, Tennessee, adopted on June 24, 2024, for fiscal year ending June 30, 2025. This is a 101 general fund, account 40266, entitled Litigation Tax Jail Workhouse Courthouse, is decreased by $6,555. Account 51800, entitled Maintenance, is increased by $6,555. At line item 335, entitled Maintenance and Repair Services, this was for work performed troubleshooting the fire alarm control panel for the sheriff's department at the jail. Mr. Hooper.
Yes, this also brought before the administrative committee, discussed and voted to pass this full commission.
Thank you, Mr. Hooper. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, without objection, I'll call for a vote. Ms. Wilson, roll call, please.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Curtis,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Daniel,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jerry Hooper,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ricky Hooper,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hurt. Yes, ma'am. Ms. McClanahan,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Malone,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayberry,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Phillips. Yes. Mr. Rochelle,
Yes.
Mr. Tidwell,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes, ma'am.
all ayes.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. All ayes, the resolution passes. Item F. Resolution to amend the budget salary lines of Humphreys County, Tennessee, adopted on June 24, 2024, for fiscal year ending June 30, 2025. 122 Drug Fund, account 54150, entitled Drug Enforcement, is decreased by $16,381.26 at line item 106, entitled Deputies. Account 54150, entitled Drug Enforcement, is decreased by $3,500 at line item 187, entitled Overtime Pay. Account 54150, entitled Drug Enforcement, is increased by $19,881.26 at line item 716, entitled Law Enforcement Equipment. 101 General Fund, account 54110, entitled Sheriff's Department, is decreased by $7,500 at line item 106, entitled Deputies. Account 54110, entitled Sheriff's Department, is increased by $7,500 at line item 307, entitled Communication. Account 54210, entitled Jail, is decreased by $12,516 at line item 160, entitled Guards. Account 54110, entitled Sheriff's Department, is increased by $12,516 at line item 187, entitled Overtime Pay. Account 54210, entitled Jail, is decreased by $6,465 at line item 160, entitled Guards. Account 54210, entitled Jail, is increased by $6,465 at line item 187, entitled Overtime Pay. Mr. Hooper.
Yes, this brought before the administrative committee. Sheriff, please explain to us and voted to pass this full commission with a vote to accept. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hooper. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, without objection, I will call for the vote. Ms. Wilson, roll call, please.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Curtis,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Daniel,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jerry Hooper,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ricky Hooper,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hurt. Yes, ma'am. Ms. McClanahan,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Malone,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayberry,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Rochelle,
Yes.
Mr. Tidwell,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes, ma'am.
All ayes.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. All ayes, the resolution passes. Item G is a resolution to authorize the county executive to execute a contract with the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security for participation in the Tennessee Advanced Communication Network. Whereas the county has been offered an opportunity to participate in the Tennessee Advanced Communications Network program under the agency tracking number with a contract term beginning April 17, 2025 and ending December 31, 2028. This is, our understanding is, allows the sheriff to have state-issued radios that allows him to communicate with other departments in the area. Mr. Hooper.
Yes, this brought before the administrative committee, explained to us by the sheriff and Chief Deputy Rob Edwards, and voted to pass this full commission with a positive recommendation to accept.
Thank you, Mr. Hooper. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, without objection, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the resolution passes. If you can tell, I was kind of rushing through that because I get so excited with the whole idea of getting to work on budget stuff, because it's my favorite thing to do. If, with permission, without objection, oh, I'm sorry. See, I was so excited about getting onto the budget, I neglected other business. Do we have any other business?
I got something, Mr. Pagriba.
Yeah, Mr. Curtis.
I was talking with our guys that are working out at the convenience centers. I told them I would bring it up. Is there any way we can get portable hand washing stations for these guys? I mean, they're using the restroom, they're touching garbage, and there's no way to wash their hands. No water supply, nothing.
You know, it's the first time that's been brought up. Do they have hand sanitizer or anything?
This guy
out
said
there?
we don't have anything. We can bring our own hand sanitizer, but it was kind of, it's not very sanitary to, you know. I told him I'd bring it up.
I
Definitely.
appreciate you bringing it up. I'll look into it. I had no idea that it was an issue,
Okay.
but it sounds like maybe something needs to be done.
And when they come and clean the portable toilets or whatever you call them, they have on the front of the vehicles, they have like a potable water. So if we had the portable stations, they would be able to fill them up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll look into that. Thank you.
No problem.
Any other business?
Mr.
Mr. Chairman, do we provide them gloves and other things for the convenience center?
Not that I'm aware of.
Are we leasing the Porta Johns?
Yes.
When we lease them for work, they have those hand wash stations they will lease. You can get
Yeah.
both items at the same place.
Okay.
And they'll service them when they come in.
We will look into it. That's good points. Yep, was not aware of it. Mr. Jerry Hooper.
While we're on the subject of convenience centers, I was approached by one of the workers there about, at one time, this has been a couple of months ago, and I apologize for not bringing it up earlier, for the metal dumpsters, or the dumpsters that contain the metal for recycling, or is it Devandries that still has that contract? Is that right, or who has that now?
No, it's Acre Iron.
Acre, okay. So, it was brought up about having a platform possibly that, some way to get it over into there rather than being put on the ground.
That's been brought up before. Mr. Curtis, I think, was one of them that actually brought that
Oh,
up.
okay.
And I mean, you know, in theory, it sounds really good. And then when you think about people struggling, you know, going up some kind of a ramp with handrails and all of that business, then it kind of opens up a whole nother caveat of
Understandable.
putting us at risk. Look, in an ideal situation, I would love to overhaul every convenience center that we have and have the dumpsters at a lower level that you could back up and just pitch it right off into it, because it is a struggle. We've left instructions that if folks have things that are just too heavy that they can't get into a dumpster, that they'd be allowed to set it on the ground beside it, and we would immediately get out there with the crew to help load it in the dumpster. It's just not a perfect world. I wish that it was, but we'll keep seeking improvement.
Thank you. How you?
Yep, thank you, Mr. Hooper. Any other business? Is there any objection if we adjourn this meeting and reconvene as a meeting of the whole? Any objections? Then without objection, I would declare by unanimous consent that we have dissolved the meeting of the full commission into that of a committee of the whole board for the purpose of discussing the county budgets. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. We appreciate it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Administrative Committee meeting for a budget workshop. Mr. Lanham, I got you on the agenda and maybe charitable contributions, if we can get that far tonight. If you have, would you like to readdress?
If y'all could please use the microphone. Thank you.
Well, I don't know where to start or where to begin. I've tried to field questions from as many of you as I can along the way. I think one of the main topics has basically been, how can we make this work under the understanding that the county's in a tight spot, and the school system certainly wants to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. So I'm going to put it to you like this, maybe the right way, the wrong way. I'm just straight shooter on numbers. Okay, at the end of the day, my job, I feel like as director, was to prepare a budget that with real numbers. That's been a conversation many times about we want real numbers put in the budget. We don't want to underestimate sales tax. We don't want to overestimate anything. We want conservative numbers, but we want real numbers. Okay, that's what I did. My job was also to take all the expenses in the school system and provide an honest budget, whether it's roof, whether it's whatever it is. You budget for these things, and there's a way this works. Now, I just want to call your attention to one thing, and I want to also recognize that I'm a rookie at this. This is my first time to prepare a budget, present a budget. Being a principal is nothing like being director of schools. So I'm not saying I'm right. I'm ignorant. I accept that. If there's something that I've done wrong in this budget, I am open to suggestion. But we have budgeted $3.370 million, $3,370,000, you get the point. A big number in property tax. We have collected so far this year, and I think it's actually a little bit higher than this, $3,714,378 in property tax. That's not a number that we created. That was a number that was given to us by the county that we put into our budget, that we've over collected $343,426. So in essence, this is how Robbie's mind works. If we were able to collect an extra $300,000 from what we've actually realized this year, $3.7 million, and we were able to collect $4 million, that would help us balance our budget. I've fielded phone calls from many of you about what in this budget, what's necessary. 100% of it's necessary. Where can there be adjustments? There is two things in this budget that you need to be aware of that can adjust. Is one, we put $200,000 in the budget, pulling out of fund balance for, I keep saying the asbestos in McEwen, but it's more than that. For the asbestos, any other little situations, I'm going to be honest with you again. I've never opened a school building. No director of schools, other than maybe Mr. Long, I guess Mr. Rye opened a temp school. That's a good example. But opening a school building, I've been told by every other director that there's unforeseen expenses that you could never imagine, that once you get into that building, they're going to start looking for things, and you're going to go, oh no, we didn't get enough AEDs, we didn't get enough expo markers, that there's going to be scenarios. So there's $200,000 in the budget that we're pulling from fund balance. There's also $200,000 for a roof. We know that in McEwen specifically, we have an issue with the old gym. the board hasn't decided what the vision of that's going to look like, because there's a safe room that we're trying to build on that campus that would impact maybe what the board's decision on the old gym would be. I mean, I'm not speaking for them, but until they have all the information, I don't feel comfortable presenting them options. So to say that, there's probably $200,000 on that roof that we probably wouldn't expend that could come out based on the fact of, depending on what happens with the FEMA project, the roof probably is up for debate. Now, next year, we're back into cycles of we have buildings that have to have roofs, and we're back on that cycle. I hate to say this because I shouldn't phrase it the way my mind is thinking it. The flood didn't help us in any way, but the flood impacted our roof schedule. So you lost 2 buildings, and so your roof schedule looks a little different than what it historically has, and so there's that. I mean, I guess those are my comments. Okay, and one more thing before Mr. Pagrebus gets me with some really good questions here. Okay, what I did was, from the trustee's office, really I shouldn't say what I had Miss Patty do for me and break down to me in layman terms was, we get these monthly trustees report, and you can have a copy of these. It's all, I mean, it's local tax money, but basically it shows what did we bring in versus what did we expend, and you're going to hear. And Mr. Pagrebus and I have talked about it, well, you got this much in your checking account or this much in your trustee account. You're claiming you got this much in your fund balance. Your math isn't mathing, okay? That's basically the conversation. Your math and my math aren't mathing. There are a couple things I want you to know. What I did was took all these monthly reports all the way through. Now, I had to use May and June of last year because we haven't had May and June of this year. So I'm trying to look at historically what the number goes. Historically, in May and June, we lose about $2.2 million for that month, for those two, about $4.4 million for those months combined. So we are on track to spend almost exactly what we budgeted if the trend continues. Now, I asked Mr. Martin, and he doesn't remember anything weird happening last year in May or June that would impact these numbers. So when you look at that snapshot of that trustees report, you got to think of, there's one important thing to remember. We have 2 payrolls left to pay in May. We have 2 payrolls left to pay in June. Also in June, we pay an additional 2 payrolls because anybody that's any teacher that's 10 month, all teachers are 10-month employees. They get paid for 12 months. But in June, we take out to pay them in July, we take out. So we run 4 payrolls in June, if that makes sense, to pay for the 10-month employees so they get a check over 12 months. So yes, the number seems a little bit high, but you're getting ready to see the next 2 months where we are in the negative tremendously. Also, remember, we haven't shied away from the fact that we over-collected, as I just told you, it's actually a little more than this. Mr. Pagrebus has the most current number, but we've already over-collected $343,000 in property tax, and we're on track to over-collect about $400,000 in sales tax. I rest my case and accept questions from the commission.
If I could.
Mr.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Thank you, Robbie. I appreciate that. You know, I just want you to understand that I'm trying to do my job, and it's not easy. I would love to be in a position that I could just sit up here and say, are you sure that's all you need? Because, I mean, you know, what else can we help you with? But unfortunately, that's not necessarily the position that we're in for the county. So I do know that we all need to work together. This is not any one thing. This is Humphreys County, countywide. And that if we all do our very best to do the right thing, that this should not have to be an unsurmountable challenge that we can't overcome fairly easily. So I mean, I'll keep this short and on point the best I can. I mean, our position is we're not here to micromanage the school's budget. We're just not. I mean, we're not in a position. We struggle to ask intelligent questions when you bring these budget amendments to us and try to keep up with what's going on. So that's not the position of this body. The position of this body is, though, to determine what the county's contribution is going to be and what our maintenance of effort contribution to the schools is going to be. I also realize that time is passing very quickly, and we have decisions to make, and we don't have the luxury to necessarily hem-haw about things because our budget timeline is passing very quickly, and we have decisions to make. To all of you up here, we set out a little packet with a few pages and look, these are preliminary numbers for discussion points. They're not something to bring home and say that this is the law. These are discussion points on the budget. A couple things that I want you to keep in mind: that a budget is structurally balanced when reoccurring revenues are budgeted to pay for reoccurring expenditures or expenses. That is a structurally balanced budget, and that's what our goal is. The budget that was submitted for approval from the Board of Education requested that the county raise the maintenance of effort from a $7,543,000 amount to $8,668,000 and change. Basically, it as submitted was a $1,124,952 increase to the maintenance of effort to the schools. And I want to point out, this is not a one-time boost. This becomes our new financial floor. This is the bottom number that has to be maintained from now and going forward. I will say, I mean, last week I was taken a little bit by surprise because I had a meeting with the director of schools, with Robbie, and we discussed the school budget, and that was on Wednesday, April 30th, and prior to the admin meeting last week. And after what I took would have been meaningful conversations about county financiers, Mr. Lanham told me that he could do, when we left that meeting, he told me he could do everything he could do, including teachers' raises, if we could raise the maintenance of effort by $300,000. For the sake of unity and showing true effort of working together, I would have been able to voice my support for that. I mean, it seemed reasonable, a reasonable enough a number that we could see the path going forward. And we took as what I thought was an agreed upon path to move forward. The presentation that you all were given last week did not reflect what we had talked about in our meeting. My specific points to the director is that our revenues have remained relatively flat in the county. If you look at last year's revenues versus this year's revenues, there's not very much difference in it. And that we would not be able to cover the recurring costs with revenues if we raised the contribution to the schools by $1 million. My formal request to him and to this body is that, you know, ultimately, I think we should do our best to tighten our belts and simply try to get through this upcoming year. And we'll talk about those reasons here shortly. Without having to have a conversation about raising taxes. We have too many unknowns with our capital projects to know exactly where we stand financially. And in this packet that you have in front of you, you'll find a table that projects the likelihood of adding very likely $73 million in debt spread out between the McEwen School project, the jail project, and what the projections might be for the new schools, and then what that means to the taxpayers of Humphreys County. Page 3 of the handout reflects principal and interest payments. If y'all kindly, if you would, let's just flip to page 3 because it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting point. So the McEwen School, we already know, or we think we know, that we have $33 million in debt for the McEwen School project. That's an annual payment of $1,405,851. The jail project, that's a big unknown. We don't know exactly where that's going to come in. I mean, I would like to think that we can do it for $25 million, but they're throwing out some pretty scary projections at this point. So if we plug in $30 million to be somewhat safe, that's an annual payment of $1,600,076. If we were to plug $10 million for the new school projects, well, there's not anyone in God's green earth knows what that project's going to cost the county. We don't know, but let's say we figure it's probably going to cost us something, isn't it? I mean, it always does. It always costs us something. So let's just plug in 10 million, just for the sake of plugging in 10 million. That would have an annual payment of 608,000. Our annual payments with this debt is going to equal $3,613,949 a year. 3.6 million. We currently have 1.6 million going into our debt service account. Does that concern anybody or just me? Because it makes me pretty nervous. If you look on, again, on page 3, and these numbers, by the way, do not include the $7 million of debt that we have for interim financing that we have right now that's going on for flood-related projects. But here's some pretty mind-boggling information for you. Interest. Interest, I mean, it benefits the banks, and I mean, it's a necessary evil because we have to finance these projects. We fund this jail. The taxpayers of Humphreys County are going to end up paying $18 million plus on interest alone. You might as well put that in a barrel and burn it, right? I mean, that's what interest is, basically. The McEwen School will pay over $20 million in interest alone. The new schools would be $8 million in interest. So total interest on 3 projects, just interest alone, $46,366,000. And by the way, we did have a conversation about the jail project. If we use $10 million of the general fund balance toward the jail, we'll actually save $8,240,000 in interest. We have a healthy fund balance. When the date comes, I would like to budget that in our capital projects account and go ahead and have it budgeted so we can use it if that date comes. I mean, currently, and in your packet, let me find the correct page. There's a page that has all the fund balances. Page 2. Now keep in mind, like Robbie said, you know, if you jump down to 141, the school fund balance right now is over $15 million. That's what the trustee has on account. I understand you've got 4.4 million in encumbrances to get through the rest of the year. You probably have some other capital project things that are going to hit that, but at the end of the day, even with that said, you still have a fund balance over $10 million. The county is sitting on it right now today, $25 million fund balance. We also have a ton of encumbrances that will come out of that, but even if you reduce it by $5 million, we're down to $20 million. If we use $10 million for the jail project, we're pretty healthy. And I mean, that's a fortunate place to be in with all things considered with the debt that this county's about to take on that I don't think anybody in this room knows historically has ever been done in this county before. This is unprecedented times, and I just can't implore and beg your attention to what this kind of debt means to a county like Humphreys County, because our revenues they're just not there. And when you go out and start talking about these kind of tax increases to cover this, it's pretty scary. My whole point this year is that please, you know, can we not raise the maintenance of effort? Can we get through? Can we figure out how to get through this without raising something that's going to be reoccurring from now and forever, and give us an opportunity to figure out where these capital projects land, how much the financing is going to be for them, which is also another unknown. I've heard now that the U.S. has signed a deal supposedly with China on the tariffs. I hope that's true, and I hope that all of this bluffing and the things that are going on works out to our benefit. There's no guarantees, though, now is there? There's no guarantees on interest rate. And I'll tell you something else there's no guarantees on. There's no guarantees that FEMA's going to come through with all this money that they've promised. I mean, they've said they will. I hope they will, because if they don't, I don't know what we do. But I will say this, there are no guarantees. I don't know if you all are aware of it. I've talked to some of you. We had the project down at the health department, pretty small project. Grant was executed, signed, stamped, everything. We're in full construction mode, 50% of the way through. We get an email from the state, shut it down. Funds have stopped from the federal level. with Doge, if that's how you say that, and the things that are going on, y'all, I would just rather err on the side of being cautious. That's all I'm saying. I mean, we can do this. You know, funding has increased significantly. The state carries the largest load for the schools. We all know that. I mean, we've gone from 15.6 or 0.8 million to nearly 20 million in state funding. I will point out too, a maintenance of effort test, just to throw this out there, just because people don't know. By the state of Tennessee, Humphreys County is required to provide $5.3 million, $5,384,741 to the schools for a local contribution. Now, we have voluntarily over the years increased that amount by 2.2 million. I mean, we have done it through the good of your heart, I guess. I'm not sure, I wasn't here for it, but we have voluntarily increased our maintenance of effort by over $2 million to the schools. So my thing to you all, look, I don't vote on this. I don't vote to raise taxes. I can tell you that our budget right now, we've got between 200,000 and 300,000. That's preliminary because we still have things to iron out, to the good. But if you say that you're gonna raise this maintenance of effort and that's gonna come out of the county's reoccurring expenses, I mean, we either have an unstructurally balanced budget or we raise taxes. I'm pleading, I would say, hey, can we figure out how to get through one more year? We'll know where the jail is. We'll have a much better idea where the schools are. We have some healthy fund balances. You know, if there's ever a need, if something comes up, at least the time that I've been here, I've never known anyone to say no to the schools. I think this entire board up here has been very positive and very helpful to schools. But you know what? That's not for me to say. Also in your packets, and I would point out, you know, this local option sales tax, Robbie, you weren't here for it. You take no blame. You're good. And I
Appreciate that one.
Yes, sir.
I got some more, but that one's a good one.
Not even laying blame, but I'm just going to say that because of how this was reported and budgeted in the past, we've had a 3-year average of excess tax revenue going to the schools of $813,000 a year. You know, you can say, yes, that is local option sales tax required to go to the school, but the point is, you could have reduced property taxes by that $813,000 average. Does that make sense? And we would have met our maintenance of effort. So, I mean, I don't know if there's a kind way to say it, but, you know, we've been overpaying. We've been paying beyond the duty of our maintenance of effort, and that has averaged out to almost $3 million in the last 4 years. So can we, in a year like this, with everything that's out there, can we say, hey, can you tighten your belt and figure out how to do this? I was already told that you could for $300,000. I don't know what happened, but I'll leave it at that, and I'll rest my case, and it'll be up for you all to decide. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Lanham, you got?
I got just a little bit. I was trying to take notes. This is the Mr. Pagriba that I signed up to debate, so I appreciate that. You came ready. I like that. Some points of contention there. Okay, we had a meeting. Agreed. I'll never do that again, but we did that. We had a meeting.
Agreed. I won't either.
When we left that meeting, the deal was, I said we needed a $500,000 increase to pay our bills. The next day, I called you and said the state reduced or increased our TISA allocation, and so $300,000. In my mind, I'm thinking if you increase us $300,000 from what we've actually realized, that would be $4 million where we need to be. We've already collected $3.7 million in property tax, based on the numbers we have now. We need to collect $4,095,904 to meet our budget. Then after that, we had the meeting Monday. Tuesday, the SPED department came in, and they have an issue with their federal allocation. Now, I'm going to try to give you the best way I can explain to you federal funds, and keep in mind, this is harder to explain than it is to understand maybe. With federal funds, you have a thing called supplement, not supplant. So when the when the federal government reduces, like we have a school psychologist, we pay half her salary out of the federal funds. We pay the other half out of local funds. When the federal government reduces your federal funds, you can't just automatically pick up one person like, okay, we got 5 special ed assistants. We're just going to pick up one with local dollars and, okay, all's good. It doesn't work that way because the federal government comes back and said, hold on now. If you can pick them up with local funds now with not new money, why couldn't you pick them up with local funds before? The idea of federal money is it supplements your programs. It doesn't supplant them. So that creates an issue to the tune of about $200,000 of how do we cover between Title I budget and SPED budget. So we had created a SPED position in this budget for overcrowding we have at Waverly Junior High. Now we have to back up on that and think, how are we going to cover that with the federal government reducing our competitive grants? Basically, our funding's the same, but the competitive grants that have always been there that we've been able to live off of are eradicated. We were told there will be no more competitive grants. That's an issue. You, Mr. Pagriba, explained to us what a structurally balanced budget is. The school system would like a structurally balanced budget as well. We do not want our monthly expenses coming out of our fund balance. That would be a problem. Capital projects. I mean, we can debate. We can sit here and, I mean, you're not guaranteed. I don't know if it, I mean, I know this, but we're not guaranteed tomorrow. So obviously we have no clue what's going to happen with FEMA. We also aren't in the middle of a FEMA. I mean, we're getting ready to try to build a new school. And my plan is to build a new school full team ahead with FEMA and without FEMA. The boot plant is not sustainable long term. I think there's at least one teacher in the boot plant. You can catch her after the meeting. She can explain it all to you. That's not a sustainable plan long term. That is a short-term solution to a long-term problem. However, the idea that, hold up, back up the brakes, we don't know what's going to happen with FEMA, is not a solution to the school problem either. I hear the fact about interest and all of that, but, I mean, you know, we talk about what the debt might be, and I haven't seen these numbers, so I'm just shooting off the cuff. Mr. Pagriba has the facts. I'm in the school budget. I don't exist in your budget. But, I mean, the county did collect $2.5 million in interest last year off of fund balances. 2.1 or 400,000 went in debt service. 2.1 went into the general fund. So there is money being generated off these savings accounts that is, I mean, to me, positive to the taxpayers. I mean, that's the goal here. And we keep saying, if there's ever a need, come back and ask. We're here asking. There's a need. The idea that we can come back and say, pull out our capital project and come back and say, we need a roof, will you fund us? I mean, we can't come back and say, hey, we got half of Miss Mary's salary. Now next month's payroll, we need the other half. How do you budget that and make that work? Now, could we come back for capital project and things? Sure. But we've been able to, it's not like, I don't think we're arguing that the school system is wasting money. I hope that's not the argument because the money's in the fund balance. Like, just some examples since I've been director of schools. That's all I can speak to. The furniture in McEwen, $750,000 we needed for furniture. We didn't come back and say, hey, we need $750,000. The furniture was in the budget. We had to allocate it for networking and security that wasn't in the budget. We pulled it out of our fund balance and said, this is our problem. We're going to solve our problem. The land purchase. We didn't come back and say, hey, we need $750,000 for the land purchase. We came back and said, we're using our fund balance. Since I've been director of schools, we've pulled out at least $1.5 million to take care of our problems with money that the taxpayers contributed to the school system through your generous efforts so that we could fund our problems. And the idea that we would drown our fund balance, to me, is an example of a locus of control. If we drown our fund balance, one, for monthly expenses, no, you wouldn't budget your personal checking account like that, and I don't know how, I mean, that would, to me, I mean, I don't want to fearmonger because I feel like that's what just happened with all that FEMA stuff, but, you know, at some point, if we were to drown out our fund balance, it would be position cuts. I mean, you can't spend monthly recurring expenses out of the general fund for sustainability. And to the effect of, you know, this is what we're here asking. I mean, I'm willing to talk to you the numbers to tell you, you know, what you can, can't, where we can, where we can't, and just all I'm asking is for a little bit of grace and a little bit of compassion towards the fact that we're trying to do best for kids. 2 years ago, and this isn't a criticism of the situation. I mean, you got to think of the situation the school system was in too. I mean, but we were a level 1 district. Last year we were a level 5 district. I guess there's two arguments. Why do you need more if you can do it with less? Okay, fair point. However, I've heard up here said many times, think about what you want 10 years from now today, and we want to continue that climb, and keeping our teachers competitive is one way to do that. So I yield the floor to Mr. Reba's counter. He and I could, one day we're going to look back and think about these moments and enjoy them, so.
Well, if I could just follow up a little bit, and
Yes,
you
sir.
know, I understand what you're saying about the fund balance, but I don't think the intent with the legislative body that does control the purse strings is supposed to look after every penny that's spent in this county of taxpayer money, regardless of which fund it is that folks should be allowed to bankroll their own fund balance and then decide that, well, I can do this without having to come back and ask. My take on that is that this legislative body is chored and tasked with overseeing every dollar that's spent of taxpayer money. And because we have historically neglected to do a proper budget, and you've been able to build a fund balance to the point that you have, my take on it, that doesn't mean that, well, I can just use it, I don't have to come back and ask for it. It's still taxpayer money, and it still needs to be appropriated.
Well, we do come back and ask for it.
Well, you just said that you wouldn't have to come back and ask.
I mean, we can't
So,
pull
I'm just
it out-
going by what you
We
said.
can't pull it out of our, I mean, you know better than that. We can't pull it out of our budget without your permission. You would know that.
I would, and that's what I want us to be mindful of, that just building it in your own fund balance does not alleviate the due process of this legislative body from approving whatever projects it is that you might decide to do if you're asking to spend money that has not been appropriated to your budget. And I get all of what you said. We're talking about raising the maintenance of effort from now into perpetuity, and without micromanaging your budget. You've got a lot of lines here. You've got 5% on the top of all these pages, but you can go down through here and there's a lot of these different budgets that add up to a lot more than 5%. And again, it's not our place to micromanage, but at the same time, I mean, everybody deals with tough budget years, and you make do. So I'm gonna rest because I'm probably just digging a hole at this point, and I'll let this board have that.
If I could just give a 30-second rebuttal and you can time me. One is, yes, when Mr. Long left, the fund balance was probably in the $1 million to $2 million ballpark. The flood, the 2 or 3 floods, and federal monies that flowed through the school system grew the fund balance.
As did the local taxes, $3 million just in the last 3 years alone.
However, you know what didn't happen previously? There weren't these battles sitting right here in every year for a budget cycle. Last year was a tough budget cycle for the school system when we were held to maintenance of effort. And I understand the point about maintenance of effort. Once you increase it, you can't go back. Sure, okay. But the county was playing the game the opposite way previously. It was underestimating sales tax so that it didn't have to increase the maintenance of effort to what the honest sales tax number was. So to say that that situation only benefited the school system would be a half-truth. It also benefited the local body.
I don't have the history of that. That was before my time. All I know is that from the day that I came into office, there was an underreporting of sales tax revenues submitted with the Board of Education budget. That's all I know is
Right,
going
and
back
I agree
to
with you,
3
but
years.
but the
So,
common sense would say that now as we get to real numbers, okay, the budget gets tighter. Before we were living off the growth of the sales tax budget and the property tax. That benefited the legislative body by not increasing the maintenance of effort to the true sales tax number. Now that we're trying to get these numbers actual, I mean, still, even if we collected $4,095,000, that's still $200,000 less than we collected 2 years ago in property tax.
it's not.
You're balancing your.
Excuse me, you're, it's not fair to divvy up, for you to divvy up property tax and local option sales tax. It's the end number that matters. It's
Right,
what
I'm
you
just trying to
collect for a maintenance of effort.
Make the point of.
And
we're
I'll
still-
say this, yes, it's all about the kids. Humphreys County's, we're a poor county, aren't we? So we we feed our kids free breakfast and free lunch every day, all of the kids in the school, because people are struggling out there, and that's good. But how does it help the kids if you raise the taxes on the parents? Is that for the kids if we're raising taxes on parents that really can't afford it? You know, these offices over here, when we talk about raising taxes, they're like, well, you need to budget for armed guards then, because people get so upset when it comes time to pay their taxes over here. And that's real. I'm not making that up. So, but I don't raise taxes. You all raise taxes. And again, no rebuttals. I'm done. Thank you, Mr. Lanham.
Mr. Jerry Hooper.
Thank you, Mr. Hooper. Appreciate that. Dr. Lanham, okay.
Yes, sir.
We had a very good, productive meeting today.
Appreciate
I
that.
went and spoke with Dr. Lanham I went through every line item with him.
Yes, we
Correct.
did, just about.
We did. We spoke about every line item. Okay, so I have 2 or 3 different things I want to discuss here, if you don't mind, Mr. Hooper and Mr. Magriba. So, we're looking at a $1.1 million difference, correct? Correct is what we're looking at originally. So take away
Correct.
$200,000 for the roof project.
Yes, sir. Subtract 200. Yes, sir.
And then $200,000 for the, quote, asbestos.
Yes, sir.
So that takes us down to $700,000, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we also discussed $200,000. What was that other $200,000? You have to help me remember on that.
Oh, increase in TISA. We had an increase in the TISA
increase in
fund.
TISA, thank
Yes.
you.
So
Okay, so that takes
500K.
it down to $500,000, correct?
Correct.
And then you add the $100,000 back for the SPED.
Yes, sir.
The decrease in funding from the Fed for the SPED, so $600,000. All
Yes,
right?
sir.
And that's with a 5% raise, okay?
Yes, sir.
Which, and from your description and what you explained to me, you know, and not this next cycle, but the next year is whenever we have to be at the threshold of $50,000 for incoming teachers, correct?
Correct.
All right, so that's the minimum. So, and I understand trying to maintain, to stay along with, quote, and I think that you use Dixon County as an example.
Yes,
on
sir.
that.
That's a competitive county.
Sta-
to us.
It's a competitive county's pay right there. So, you know, we're looking at 5%, or there was $100,000 difference between a 4%. And I know I'm going to make teachers mad at Jerry Hooper, and I'm sorry. But you know, we have to pay bills. A 4% raise as opposed to a 5% raise is $100,000 countywide, correct?
Correct. Very close to that number. Yes.
That's the number basically that we had come up with. So, you know, if we did a 4% raise, or if you all did a 4% raise, as far as what we would be budgeting or what we would be, the legislative body would be trying to pay for, and you had discussed possibility saying, you know, hey, if the school board wants to give a 5% raise, then that can come out of y'all's fund balance to make up that difference. So that was one thing that we talked about, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'm switching gears here so bear with me for 1 second, please. I'm looking at line on the first page, line 4120, trustees collections. Okay, we talked about that. Y'all make that $70,000 every year, correct?
Correct.
So do we know the to-date collection, uncollected property tax on that? Did we ever get a
On
number?
trustees collection on that this year, which that number varies because that's based on unpaid property taxes that come in.
Correct.
This year that number is at 130,000.
At 100, so you're $60,000 over what you budgeted right now so far, correct?
Correct.
So that's to this point in time. Last year, the 23-24 budget was $290,000. Y'all had budgeted for $70,000, but
Right.
you're looking at $220,000 difference.
And the year before it was 61.
Correct.
The issue is if we move that number higher, that increases the maintenance of effort. So we historically kept that number where
Right.
it was. Yes.
But that's another place that could be an overcollecting right there. Overcollection, correct?
Correct. I'm just going to be honest with
I
you.
know
I'm a
you're
little more vague on how we get that and how to budget that because
Because that's an unknown.
it's an unknown number. So we put in and for the last 2 years, for some reason, it's been historically higher than it has ever been before. I don't know if people wait to pay their taxes. I hope that ain't me. My pants are a little tight and I'm liable to hit my button and turned on my.
White Ford truck.
Okay. Oh, white truck. That's me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Good
I
job.
gotta go one size up.
All right.
Okay.
Stress will get it for you there, Dr. Lanham.
Yes.
So what we're looking at is either $500,000 or $600,000, and that could be, some of that taken care of with collection, but we don't know that. So we can't really count that. I understand. Right now, we're $60,000 over on that right now. All right. Now, one thing that you and I talked about, and along with Billy Daniel, and we discussed was the possibility of, and I think Mr. McGreevy and I had talked about this. It's not in agreement with what he agrees with, but the interest.
Correct.
If we could come to a compromise between interest and you all, and you said, Mr. McGreevy, if I'm not mistaken, you said a while ago, we have some wiggle room, $250,000 or something like that. Is that correct? County?
What are you referring to, sir? I'm not.
You said a while ago that as far as increasing maintenance of effort on our part, we were looking at $200,000 to $300,000. Is that correct? If we had that ability, if we had that kind of wiggle room in our budget, is that right?
If we could reduce that to that 300,000, but when you start talking about interest now, you're
I know that's another can of worms. I
y'all,
understand
it's one wallet or it's one purse, and you can stick dividers in it, but it's still one purse. So the interest that is earned on taxpayers' money.
Yes.
That's countywide. If we start trying to calculate this and divvy it up, if the 141, if the school wants their interest, then what about the other funds? Then they're going to want their interest, and it's the taxpayers' money. It's all in one purse.
Can you explain to them the interest we collect on the cafeteria fund?
Now that's different. The cafeteria
Okay.
fund is all yours, sir.
Right. So it's not that this doesn't already happen in some accounts, correct?
I might need to look into that and see if there's.
I'm
Thank
just
you
saying,
for bringing it up.
And as I talk to other directors across the state, it's a mixed bag, but they do this in other systems for these exact situations of, like you're saying, it's all taxpayer money. We don't want to raise taxes. So how can we use taxpayer money to meet the goals of the county?
What's the difference if the interest is used, if you're using it out of the 141 or you're using it out of 101? Interest is interest. It's how much we're funding the maintenance of effort. Doesn't matter. It's the maintenance of effort that we're going to do recurring year after year.
Can I push back on you on maintenance effort a little bit, and you just give me your opinion?
Sure.
This is off the cuff. We're hung up on maintenance effort. I probably am a rookie, so I shouldn't say this because I maybe don't know what I'm agreeing to right here, okay? I'm not that hung up on maintenance effort. What I'm hung up on is whatever we budget in sales tax, we're going to get whatever the actuals are. If your whole contention is increasing the maintenance of effort, subtract $600,000 from our sales tax and increase our property tax $600,000, and you don't increase our maintenance effort, and we can pay our bills, pay our people, and life goes on.
I would very much like to use real numbers, real math, and not.
And I don't disagree, but you could use mafia accounting, and you could not increase the maintenance of effort if that's your point of contention.
You get to a point where it's almost like you're taking advantage of the taxpayers. The taxpayers deserve for us to use real numbers.
Right.
And to calculate it, and whatever this legislative body decides they're going to give you, that's the difference in what we do property taxes. So if we raise property taxes because we've deflated local option sales tax, that's not using real math. And that's all I've asked for 3 years. Let's please just use the real math.
And I understand your point there, but my point was that the whole argument with you keeps being, well, commissioners, you're going to raise the maintenance effort. I'm just pointing out there's other ways to do it.
What my point was, I'm trying to find a compromise that we can not raise the maintenance of effort. Trying to find a way that we not necessarily not raise maintenance of effort, not raise any taxes. That's what I'm just trying to find a compromise. And like I said, I went through line by line by line with Dr. Lanham today, and I can see where they're coming up with their numbers from. He explained, he was very transparent with everything. And, but I just think that we need to find some way, either through a one-time deal of utilizing some fund balance. I understand. I'm just trying to prevent us as a legislative body from raising taxes again on the county citizens. there's got to be a compromise somewhere that we can do this.
Mr.
I
Wag-
yield.
Mr. Wagner.
My turn?
Yes.
Thank you. First of all, I just have 12 different things I want to cover. Not really.
12?
First of all, I do want to cover one thing to begin with. The term that is thrown out so many times, structurally balanced budget, is delivered so many times wrongly. Our comptroller for the state of Tennessee says the use of fund balance for capital projects is not a sign of a structurally unbalanced budget if there are sufficient reserves for operations and unforeseen events. It is one of the 7 keys to a physically well-managed government. Now, the state would be giddy if every county, and they have a incentive program that's going to start in about 10 years, that everybody had a structurally balanced budget. But not everyone has taxes, revenues, loan repayment that can pay for all of their expenses, all of their payroll, all of their insurances, and all of their capital projects every year. It's not a possibility.
If I could, Mr. Wagner, if you reread that statement again, you'll understand that you're talking about capital projects, not reoccurring expenses.
But what I'm talking about is structurally balanced
Right,
budget.
right. You can
Yes.
spend over for
Right.
capital projects. It's the reoccurring
It's the
expenses
reoccurring-
and
right.
revenues that need to balance. Yeah.
But you can spend money from your fund balance to
We're-
cover these.
You can on the capital project items,
Right.
but
And that's what we're trying to
it's a
fund.
moot point if we're talking about the maintenance of effort.
But if we're trying to cover a capital project, we can do that.
Absolutely, you can.
Right. And a balanced budget uses measures of sale assets, taxes, property taxes, sales taxes, which is basically what nearly all of the state of Tennessee does. There are very few counties that can have a structurally balanced budget. We're very close to one, but we do not have those assets. Now, there's been a lot of talk, Dr. Lanham, about different things. And what we're gonna need in a moment is a final number from you to see what we can do. And that's gonna help very much. I have a comment I'd like to make. I would absolutely not make any large payment out of our fund balance for any reason whatsoever in this economic time right now. That would be very, very disastrous going down the road. We need to maintain our fund balance for everything we have. We can also, you can cut interest off on the front end, but you can also do it on the back end whenever economic times are getting better. You don't want to do it on the front. Right now, I would not spend anything extra than what we had to. I would maintain our balance and our quo. So, Dr. Lanham, if you can, tell us what is your number that you would like to have?
The number that would make me sleep at night peacefully is $600,000 increase to either property tax or a combination with interest. So I mean, however you sliced it would be your decision. If you get if with 300 to property tax, 300 to interest, but the number that would ensure that we are confident in our projection would be $600,000.
Okay, and we had that discussion 2 years ago whenever the reallotment of the penny and sales tax and property taxes was made, and then we knew it was going to affect the school balance in the end.
Yes, sir.
I'll yield to Mr.
Dr.
Malone.
Lanham, what is the $600,000? What does that do to the $8,668,204.01 in the 2025-26 estimate?
Okay, hold on. You're talking about the total local taxes at the bottom of that thing? Okay.
Totals both of the,
Okay, understand there's a couple things playing here. This is a lot of moving math at one time to really get me, you got my mind working overdrive here. Okay. Okay, we increased, let me draw it out here because I'm a visual person. We increased our local option sales tax from 4 million to 4.2 million. Okay, so that was 200,000 in on the maintenance of effort right there. Again, I know Mr. Pagriba wants to use real numbers, and I'm not advocating for not using real numbers. I'm just advocating that you have options. We could move that back because we're going to collect that no matter what the number is. So if you add $600,000 to let's start at 7.5. If you add 600,000 to 7.5, what is that? 8.1.
8,143,000.
Yeah, 840.
$8,143,252.
So that's what that does to it. Then you have to decide: are you going to allow the school system to keep the local option sales tax at 4.2, or would you like to move it to 4 million to not have to raise the maintenance of effort more than 600,000? That's a decision. I'm not hung up on the maintenance of effort. It's not like, I mean, I know all of you personally. It's not like we're going to come back here next year and you're going to say, now if we lost 1,000 kids or something, I mean, but based on what we have now, it's not like we're going to come back here next year and say, okay, now you get less. I mean, I think this, if I could just say one more thing, I think this comes down to trust. How much do you trust the school system to take the money that you're allocating and use it effectively for kids? And that's where we haven't had time to build that relationship, but I've tried by the budgetary moves I've made because I think differently about that fund balance than previous people because I'm a taxpayer. I don't want you to have to pay interest on anything that we got the money to buy. But that's the best answer I can give, Mr. Trooper.
thank you. And
Mr.
how,
Chairman.
I got one other question.
Go ahead.
too. Mr. Pagriba probably, how do we collect 600,000 more dollars in property tax when it's a certain number of pennies going to the school system? How do we even get that far away on real numbers?
You would have to reallocate the penny distribution
I'm talking
to,
about how did we do it this year if we had, if we knew what the properties in Humphreys County was appraised for and what the,
You had new construction,
sir,
new construction.
are you talking
That
about how
what
to
it is?
increase the
Okay.
tax base?
trying to figure how we went from 3.3 to 4.2.
That was the increase that they put in their budget to get their
Understand.
maintenance of effort up to the 8.6.
I understand,
Yeah.
but it was still,
And again, I mean, I would say
I guess, right, that's your actual 23, 24. It's not that big a difference.
127,000.
Right, we've had this discussion in the office. And let me go back to my famous line. Me and Mr. Pagriba are friends, but the number that we got last year is historically off from what we've realized in actual tax collection. So either one of two things happened. We didn't get the right number, or it was underinflated to not raise the maintenance of effort.
you did get the right number. The entire county, every fund reaped the benefit of growth in Humphreys County last year. So
But
everyone collected a
according to the
little bit
spreadsheets
more.
we have, we actually
Yes,
did
sir.
not get the right number. We got an underinflated number, and that's why we've over-collected on property tax.
I'm not aware of that. I'm not
Well, I'd be
sure.
glad to show it to you. I think somebody didn't use Excel properly, and we over collected, but that wasn't our. I guess what my point I'm making is that wasn't us. That was the county. I mean, we just put the number we got. We're not trying to over collect. I'm just trying to pay the bills.
We all, and I'll look into that, but I mean, I know the general fund also collected more in property tax. I mean, we did experience growth, and the assessor goes out on a constant basis and upgrades. So countywide, we did collect a little bit more, and we've had this conversation about the ratio on the personal property taxes that kind of adjusted us back to right in line with where we were last year.
Thank you. Mr. Daniels, you have a question?
Yeah, I had a question there.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I asked you, go ahead, Mr.
Go ahead, Mr. Malone, I'm sorry.
You may answer my question.
All right, couple of things that I wanted to hit on. Number one, you know, we're talking about the difference in what was collected versus what was budgeted.
Yes, sir.
You know, every year we have some growth in the tax base, which creates an excess amount. That's the reason the property taxes that you collect are a little more than what we budgeted. Unfortunately, this year is a ratio year. Therefore, when you apply the ratio to the personal property taxes, utility taxes, et cetera, we won't see that kind of growth. So the number that we put in this year is probably gonna be a whole lot closer to accurate than it's been since the last ratio year. So on what you actually collected last year, what was your number for property tax?
Well, keep in mind that there's one more month that I don't have. Mr. Pagriba may have May. I made this little thing I had in April, but right now what we've actually collected in property tax is 3.714378 and 25 cents. I think that number, if Mr. Pagriba may have the most accurate one, I think it's closer to like 3.8 now.
What have you actually collected in sales tax?
In sales tax, we have actually collected local option sales tax. Well, what we've actually collected right now, well, again, this was the end of April. What we actually collected at the end of April was 3.2 million. We budgeted 4 million, but we're on track to collect about 4.3 million dollars.
Okay, so if you put what you're on track or expecting at the end of the year, what does that get your total number to be?
Our total maintenance of effort.
If you were to replace what you have in your budget with those actual projections for the end of the year?
If you put sales tax at 4.2 and you put property tax at
Well,
300.
they said we were around 4.3.
Yeah, okay, 4.3. So 300,000, and we've collected about 350. It'd be a $650,000 increase in the maintenance of effort based on actuals at this point.
Okay, and those would be actual numbers, and we want to get to actual math, right?
4.3 for property, and what was the other?
4.3 for sales, 3.7 for property, is that right?
Yes, sir.
That's too bad, we don't, but projected, right?
That's, yeah, through the end of this year.
Yeah, that sales.
3.7 is not projected to the end of the year, though.
No, that 3.7 we've already collected. That's realized.
So
The-
what are you projecting to the end of the year?
Because property
Tax has already come
Yeah,
due.
property tax is already done, so I'm assuming
you're
that
probably
that's
gonna be about that, right?
about
So
that.
it's still 3.7.
yes, sir. Now sales tax is a little different. I mean, we're projecting that we'll be at 4.2, 4.3 on sales tax pending tariffs and
So
trade
if
agreements.
If you put 3.7 and 4.3 in there, then you get to the 8.1 you need to balance your budget. Is that
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes, sir.
Does anybody have a problem with that?
I don't, that's what I was gonna ask him, what would it take?
And
to
that
balance?
keeps the property tax where we need it in order to not think that extra money's going into your fund balance. We're basically asking you not to increase your fund balance for a year. We increase the maintenance of effort, and you have a structurally balanced budget, and we can balance our budget with hopefully virtually no tax increase.
Mr. Hooper.
Miss,
So, I need clarification on my part, Mr. Malone. So right now, the estimate, what they're budgeting for is 4.3 million on property tax.
And we're asking them to change that to 3.7.
We're asking them to change that to 3.7.
Yes, and to increase their sales tax from 4.2 to 4.3. And that puts us on the hook to, if they don't collect 4.3 million in sales tax, they're gonna come back to us and we've gotta take it out of our fund balance and give it to them. But they have a balanced budget.
So, Mr. Malone, say that current property tax, you would be adding, we needed 600, we're gonna add 100 to our sales tax at 4.3, and you're gonna add 500,000 to the current property tax, so it would be 3.870952.
Somewhere in there, yeah. That's what you said you were collecting a little over 3.7, right?
Yes, sir.
So
So,
you guys like a lot more digits than I do.
yeah, I'm
you
just
can
trying
round
to,
it.
basically, we need 600,000, we're adding 100 to sales tax, and we're adding 500 to property tax, and that gets us to 600. Yeah, can I make a motion to pass that?
Mr. Malone can.
Well, does anybody have any discussion points on that? Mr. Pagriba, do you see a problem with that?
The only thing I'll say is that you are increasing the maintenance of effort by that 600,000 regardless of where it comes from, whether it's local
think
option
we all
sales
realize
tax or
that.
property tax, and
And we've been several years without increasing it, so.
as long as you all are satisfied. Now, can we balance the budget for Humphreys County, giving up that amount of property tax?
Right.
I'll have to finish everything out to see if we can.
That's
I'm
right,
not
the
saying that we
issue.
can, but
Where's
it's,
that money gonna come from?
you know,
No.
we've got less than 300,000 in fluff right now, and we're not finished, so
Now,
maybe.
one thing I would like to add is Mr. Vergreber brought up the interest and what all these different loans and the extra, you know, going to 3.6 million a year in debt service versus 1.6 million. You know, if we pass that along to the taxpayers, you know, based on the numbers we had, rough calculations, that's $70 of taxes a year per $100,000 of assessment. That's a pretty good tax jump.
It's a 26% increase in everybody's taxes, basically 26%.
So
Mr.
when we're talking about not spending, not using our fund balance for the jail and things like that, that's how we, somebody's paying for that interest.
Yeah.
Mr. Hooper, I got a question. I think you and Mr. Malone are saying the same number. I heard your, projection, you come up with $600,000 and Mr. Malone's.
That's correct, but yeah,
I just structured it a little different.
right. And my question, and I do have a question back to, Mr. McGreevy here though. So I like your idea, Mr. Malone, but once again, we're gonna have to come up with
300,000?
we're gonna have to come up with another $300,000 because he says he has about $300,000 right now in fluff. We're gonna have to come up with something to make up that $300,000 or we have to raise taxes,
Correct.
correct?
That's correct.
So we're back on the same page, you know, trying to keep from raising taxes. So once again, we've got to figure out, that's gonna be, all 14 of us has got to figure out where we're gonna get that other $300,000.
But it's a whole lot easier to figure out how we're gonna get rid of 4 pennies than it is 13 pennies.
Right. Mr. Curtis, you got a question?
Yeah. Mr. Malone, will you repeat that again, what you said with the $70 and the 26% interest, or a 26% increase?
A $2 million annual debt service increase comes out to be right at $70 per 100,000 of a assessment value,
Okay. Thank you.
based on a
Yeah.
penny of $75,000.
Yeah.
So just to kind of recap on that, if we were to have that amount, we know what the McEwen School is, that if we plug 30 for the jail, if we plug 10 for the schools, at the penny value that it's currently at of $75,948, that would be 47.586 pennies required to fund that debt. Basically 26% of the total budget, would be debt service.
Dr. Lanham, do you have is there a line item in here, I'm not that familiar with your budget. Is there a line item in your budget for capital projects that you can refer me to right quick?
What we have in our budgets, we have a separate capital projects budget that we zero out. It's $0 in, $0 out,
177.
and it's its own capital project, and this has like the loans and the random things that we have going down.
What page, right quick?
Well, it's its own separate budget. It's a whole nother
Is it in
sheet.
our packet?
It was, and so this is just basically, you know, where the debt service is, the school system, well, really, I mean, the school system can't have debt, the county's debt, but, you know, and all spread out amongst that's how we budget it or how we're supposed to. But that's no new money in, no new money out. That's just taking what we have and allocating it.
If you all, and I hate to interrupt what you're doing, but on page 2 of the handout, if you look at fiscal year 25, 26 budget projected, the county right now, as it stands, without everything all resolved, and this is preliminary, but we're showing about a $317,000 balance to the good. And if you go down through the lines, there's not much opportunity to make up much difference. I'll say this, the 171 capital projects, a large part of that's the jail that's not funded. We're showing a $9,480,000 loss. That's the jail project. So if you go down through there, there's not much opportunity on most of those. And I will say that the revenues, I mean, we're projecting sales tax, or not sales tax, property tax revenues to the best of our ability. I mean, we all benefit when more comes in. I don't care if it's sales tax or property tax. We all benefit if we have revenues that exceed expectations, so.
Well, the other thing to point out is if it hadn't been a ratio year, we would have had the other money.
If we hadn't had a ratio year, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Exactly. So get through this year, be
So-
prosperous next year.
Just so I know what you're doing, because I have to get this in the school budget. Miss Patty back there has to enter this in the computer if we can get this approved. We're talking about increasing property tax, $500,000. Then we're increasing our local option sales tax from 4.2 to 4.3.
Correct. And when
Okay.
you say increasing property tax 500,000, that's from the 2024 budget.
Yeah, from the 24 approved, so it would be $3,870,952.
The confirmation of that, and I've separating sales tax and property tax, but the end of the day, we're increasing the maintenance of effort by 600,000. Is that
Correct.
everybody's understanding?
No, sir, it's more than that. You're increasing the maintenance of effort. I mean, I'm not trying to, I should let you just vote on it, but you're increasing the maintenance of effort you're increasing the maintenance effort 800,000. Because we already increased the maintenance of effort 200,000 in sales tax.
Were you all, this whole conversation, was it not about increasing it by $600,000?
Right, but it was about
Something I
taking,
misunderstood?
well, you didn't understand what Mr. Malone said. It was about taking our local option sales tax from
Yeah, we were looking to put the
4.2
actual
to
numbers.
4.3. So it'd be increasing the maintenance of effort $800,000. I'm not trying to do anything
That is correct.
behind your back, but that's what was said. Which,
If adding 500,000 gets you to 3.87 as opposed to the 3.7 that we talked about, that's a little
Right.
higher.
right,
So can we get that to 400,000 increase there? Make it,
I'm sorry, say that again?
can you make that a $400,000 increase and get it to 3.77?
What about like we discussed, Dr. Lanham?
About taking part of it out of interest?
No, the other 4% as opposed to 5% and making up that 1% difference out of fund balance?
I would prefer not to do that. I mean,
Well-
like Mr. Pagreeba will remind you, you're gonna tell me what we're gonna put in this budget, but if you're asking me what we need 600,000, on the, like what Mr. Malone, we need it in some form or fashion that way, but this is a lot of moving math.
Now, but when you said you needed 600,000, that was 600,000 from last year, right? So how did we get to 800,000?
Because well, it's not 600 from last year. It's 600 from what we did. We got to 800,000 because we'd already increased our local option sales tax 4 million to 4.2. Because sales taxes had growth, so we're trying to get closer to the.
Thought you were looking at actual numbers from the 23-24 budget and adding 600,000 to it, what I was under the impression that, is that not what you were discussing?
Well, me and Mr.
That's what we were discussing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we were discussing, but what we talked about was taking local option sales tax because we're at that 5% estimate column. We need 600,000 more than what's there to keep our. So we talked about moving the property tax 500 and taking the local option sales tax from 4.2 to 4.3.
That's 800,000.
Right. That's what I was trying to explain to you. But
Did you not just say that you need 600,000? Am I hearing something wrong?
yes, you are. You're hearing something. I said what I was saying was 600,000 from the 5% budget line that we have. Okay, so that's where we're at. So we need 600,000 in that line from where we're at. You came up with that number by adding 100,000 to local option sales tax and 500 to property tax.
Which
Well,
is
but if we're work-
600,000.
Right, which is 600,000. But we'd already had.
If we're working off of the 2024, 2025 approved, then adding 100,000 would have put your sales tax at 4.1.
Right. But then that would, but you see, when we budgeted to come up with our deficit, when we were having this discussion, I was working off what we budgeted for 25, 26. But again, listen, if maintenance of effort is the hiccup, increase the property tax 500,000, leave the sales tax at 4.2 or 4.1 or whatever you want to put it at. We'll run a negative budget because we're going to collect that money regardless.
So if we made, Mr. Hooper,
Yes, Mr. Hooper.
so if we made the 2024, if we added $100,000 to the 2024 local option sales tax, that would make that 4.1, correct?
Okay?
And then you said $500,000 to the property tax, correct?
Yes, sir.
To the 2024-25 approved, that would make that 3.87 million, correct?
Yes, sir.
So that is the $600,000 increase right there that you're looking at, correct?
Yes, sir. And if you will vote that, approve that, I can budget that and make it work.
The issue is that in reality, the sales tax, the local option sales tax is most likely gonna be, if you average out this year, it's gonna be 4,350,000.
Correct.
So if you put
Yeah.
4.1 in the budget, they'll still get the $250,000 in addition to the 4.1 that's budgeted and the extra property tax that you're already giving them.
And that's historically speaking, but that's not a known.
Right, that's an assumption.
I mean, I understand, that's an assumption, but, I mean, yes, I think it's a pretty safe assumption. I 100% agree with you on that, but.
That's why at the end of the day, regardless of how you want to compute it, it's the bottom number that matters. You know, what's that bottom number, and then how it's derived. I mean, half of it's going to be sales tax, regardless by law. 50% of every sales tax penny generated in the county is going to go to schools. The remainder has to be made up with property taxes. So it's whatever the bottom number is, how it's made up. It doesn't necessarily.
Or interest.
I mean, interest is the same thing. That's going into the. It's a revenue that's accounted for in the budget.
Right, I'm just saying there's more than one way to skin a cat. That's another revenue source that does exist.
Okay, just for recap, not only for myself, maybe someone else. But on line item 40-110, current property tax, that number will now be 3.87952.
No, 3.87, just add 500K. So 3.870952.
Is that correct?
3.870952.
And on line 40-210, local option sales tax, that line will now be $4.1 million.
Yes, sir.
And we still have to come up with, once, I'm sorry, Mr. Hooper?
Yes.
And that still, so that way, we'll end up having to come up with $200,000 as opposed to $300,000. You know, you had $300,000 that you said you could consider, but now we're down to possibly $200,000 if we can find something somewhere.
Why wouldn't we put the sales tax at the 4.3 and then reduce the 200,000 of the property taxes up above? That'd be 3.6 instead
That
of.
makes it easier for us to balance the other county budget.
Right, but again, property tax is something that we consistently know what is. That's a gamble if we move the sales tax. I would prefer you to keep the property tax at an increase of 500,000. I mean, we collected, if you take the actual, I mean, we're razor thin.
The
And-
sales tax is not a gamble, because if you put it in your budget and we approve it, and you don't collect it, we have to give it to you.
That's not true. You're only required by law to give me what you gave me last year, regardless of what you budget this year. There's no true-up. The school superintendents have tried to get this passed through the legislature, a true-up bill, that whatever you budget, you automatically true up. But that doesn't exist. So if we budget it and don't collect it, you're under no obligation to give it to us.
If we approve it and make it your maintenance of effort, and you don't collect it, we have to give it to you.
No, sir. You have to give me what you gave me last year. Regardless of what you budget, it's based on the it is based on what you budget, but if we don't collect it, my understanding is you're not required to give it to us if it doesn't collect.
Well, I would like to think there's nobody here that would
Exactly.
not give you what they're
True.
telling you you can have.
True. I mean, you know, and you know, I would prefer you do 500 in property tax and 100 on sales tax. But again, that's your decision.
Mr. Coleman?
Mr. Chairman, if we agree to, I agree with Mr. Malone, if we agree to supplement that if the sales tax, it does not meet the requirement, will you accept that?
I mean, we're going to accept what you tell us. That's not how I would prefer to do it, because that gives us little growth. If there's any, I mean, you know, but
Well, that's kind of what we're asking for this year. Is
Right.
To make sure you've got enough money to pay the bills, but this not be a year of growth because of the fact that we're not gonna have the revenues that we would have in a non-ratio year.
right. So okay. So give me the current property tax number that you want me to.
Add 300K to the property tax number and 300K to the sales tax number.
3570952.
Everybody said different.
Yeah, it would be 36709.
Yeah, 3670952. And then 4.3. 4.3 on the local option.
Could we split hairs there and move the property tax to 3.7 and go to 4.1 on the property sales tax? You're making me nervous on the sales tax. I mean, if Mr. Pagriba had 300 or 300 to 400 in fluff, the 400 in fluff could go on property tax, and then we could squeeze the sales tax.
I think he said 200 to 300.
Well, okay.
I think you already agreed if there was a shortfall on the sales tax, you would help them out,
Yeah.
right? So,
Right.
is it 4.3 on the sales tax?
Asking for an amount of trust there, Dr. Lanham.
I understand that. That's just that just makes it really tight, because you assume that, you know, you might collect 4.3. Over that is a gamble. And I mean, the idea that we could come back is great, but the reality is that makes me nervous a little bit, because we would have possibly, I mean, it's hard to, yeah, okay. I mean, give me some numbers. I mean, we'll make a budget work.
Make the property tax an even 3.7. No numbers, cents, et cetera.
Okay, yeah, that would be
Sales tax
better.
an even 4.3.
3.7, 4.3.
That went up then, right?
Yeah.
And that would be 8 million. That would be increasing the maintenance of effort in the ballpark of $500,000, 600, which would be
630, yeah.
fair.
Will that put you in a positive,
We can make that work.
and will that be a positive budget? 'Cause I don't know if the state will accept them.
Well, we can take a negative budget because our fund balance is so healthy.
Okay.
One more time, Mr. Malone, 3.7,
3.7 and 4.3.
4.3.
And all the other numbers in that column stay the same until you get to the total.
And if we don't collect 4.3, we come back and we make it right.
Right.
That's right.
Property tax. If we can come. Mr. Hooper?
Mr. Hooper, I'm sorry, you still up, Mr. Coleman? Mr. Hooper?
So for the $330,000 that we're looking at, is that correct? For the property tax? Mr. Pagriba, do you think that we have the wiggle room to be able to come up with that without raising taxes? I'm back to my original thing. I don't want to raise taxes.
We sure are gonna do everything that we can.
We can take it out of the sheriff's budget, I understand.
Yes, sir. He's got some room.
The sheriff needs his money too. He's trying to build a jail.
But yes, I just wanted to make sure.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that that you think that we're able to do that without having to go up on the citizens of Humphreys County.
I will do the absolute best that I can. I'll have a better idea when we iron out a couple more things.
Thank you, sir. I yield.
Yes, sir.
Do we need a motion?
We need a consensus.
Yep.
Motion, Mr. Malone.
Motion to change the property tax to 3.7 and the sales tax to 4.3 million and approve the school's budget.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion and properly second to,
One point of contention,
yes, sir.
is that something for us to vote on, or is that something the school board needs to vote on?
No, we set the budget and they gotta fill in.
But this is their budget, though.
Right, if you'll just give us the numbers.
That's
we'll
why
ha-
we're only
Okay,
voting on the
I'm-
front page.
Okay, thank you.
yeah,
All right,
and then
that's
we'll
what I
go
wanted to
back
make sure
and
about. That-
Adjust our budget,
All right, thank you.
yes.
There's 4 of us here.
Okay.
Mr. Hooper, can I
Mr.
make a comment before we vote on this?
Yes,
I appreciate all you people coming tonight. These, I'm gonna take Danny Wagner's stage. But you know what? You sit here and we have griped and moaned and groaned and everything else, and Mr. Ross, I wish I was as smart as he was, but I'm not. But on the other hand, we got a lot of senior citizens in this county here, and there's never been one word brought up about them on how to protect them, on their taxes, and all of this stuff. And a lot of people can't afford to keep raising prices on land. And when is this gonna stop? 10 more years, like Mr. Hooper was saying earlier tonight, before the meeting started. Waverly Central is gonna have to be rebuilt sooner or later. Now you're looking at a 30 more year payout. How are we gonna fund it? You know, there's enough, and we're at the end of our line. And,
Can I say something?
no, ma'am. And, I just think that we need to be more frugal about our money and watch what we're doing. I appreciate what the teachers do, but on the other hand, it needs to be an even keel. We need to look after our seniors too. And there's a lot of people out here, they get a roof jerked off their house, they lose a refrigerator they can't afford any more than what they're doing right now.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that comment from you, Mr. Rochelle. And I've sat here and I've been as nice as I can be and respectful. But at the end of the day, we're going to be back next year asking for more money again. There's a cost of doing business for the school system. And you have people that you hire and you have to pay them fairly. And I am sympathetic. I live in this county. I pay taxes in this county. But you get what you pay for.
So you're saying we just need to kick them out?
I'm
the back
saying
door?
that you haven't supported public education from one day since I've been in one of these meetings, and you're not going to start today. That's what I'm saying.
thank you. Ms. Weiser, do you have a comment?
I did. I mean, you need to realize too, that the people that work in these
Podium.
school systems maybe make $19,000 a year. Those are the people that spending money in your county. You have to raise that. I mean, you have cafeteria workers that don't even make that. We have subs that make $55 a day. It has to be married people that their husband, first of all, carries insurance, secondary can be the breadwinner of the family, and that's why we have a hard time. We don't pay anything. And you're not gonna have revenue in this county until everybody here starts giving raises and paying a fair rate. So you saying that we're taking all the money,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
I
that.
care about elderly people too. But you have to look at these kids. These are your future. This is the people that's gonna be sitting in your seat. And if we don't raise them right, and yes, they get 2 free meals a day. That is from a grant. They also get heat. They get loving on every day that they may not get at home. You have to look at the whole concept. It's not all just about money. Because at the end of the day, these kids need more than your money. And that's what we provide by putting teachers in this classroom. And we're not gonna have good teachers if we can't pay them and we can't pay the support staff. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Weiser. Mr. Malone?
I just want to kind of hit on not just the school system, but also the sheriff's department, the highway department. You know, there are certain things as county government we're supposed to provide. And at some point, we got to realize we have to have enough revenue to provide them competitively. You know, we sit in these meetings all the time and people come in here and they want this and they want that we don't already offer. The fact of the matter is, we don't have enough money to do the things we're supposed to do well now. So at some point, we've got to figure out how to generate enough revenue to competitively pay teachers and support staff so they have jobs, to make sure that we have water and bathrooms at convenience centers, to making sure that we're not constantly losing sheriff's deputies to competing counties, that we keep good people working on our roads. I mean, if we don't figure out how to do that, this county's going nowhere. And we talk about industrial development. Who's gonna move here if we don't have a decent infrastructure as a county? So not only do we have to figure out how to fund these things, but at some point, we've gotta figure out the water and sewer issue throughout the county so that we have somewhere somebody wants to come build things. So that's kind of my take on it. We've gotta figure out at some point how to generate enough revenue, and that's probably gonna mean a tax increase at some point. We're trying not to do it this year, but you can already see with the debt that's coming up, the things we've got in place, the things that are coming up, it's gonna be tough for a while.
Thank you, Mr. Malone. We have a motion and seconded to project the property tax at $3.7 million and project the sales tax at $4.3 million. Get a roll call, please.
Mr. Tidwell?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hurt?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. McClanahan?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Coleman?
My goodness, I don't know how to act if I'm not voting first.
Pass to the last.
Yes.
Mr. Ricky Hooper?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Rochelle?
Tough,
Going broke at a high rate of speed.
tough, isn't it, Diddy?
It's too tough. I'm gonna pass. First time in 20 years.
Mr. Mayberry?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Malone?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hooper?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Turner?
Yes.
You have 13 ayes, 1 present, not voting.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lanham.
Hey, if I could, look, I know it's not easy on anybody, and it's not a fun thing to do. I don't know how many of you grew up poor like I did, but I mean, you'd sit around the table and listen to your folks discuss how they're buying groceries the next week and whatever. So I appreciate everybody participating in this. I hate that it's stressful and that things can get contentious, but at the end of the day, we're all doing the best that we can. I will do everything within my power to make sure that these numbers work and that we don't raise property taxes this year. We all know it's coming, but we'll worry about that next year. Let's get through this one. Thank you.
If y'all will indulge me, go over the nonprofit funding requests, the 4-7. Well, you should have that packet. Is there anything else after this we need to discuss tonight? That's on it.
Do we want to talk about the debt service and putting money in there for the jail project tonight?
We can. If you're prepared to. I'm not prepared. Okay, non-profit funding request as of 4/7/25. Has everyone got that packet?
This right here.
Okay.
That's right.
What is the will of the board on funding these?
Mr. Chairman, if I could, please, I have two recommendations on this, and one of them is Mid-Cumberland that we talked about several times. They do so much in our community. I'd be hard pressed to say that we don't fund them. If you look at all of the meals and the rides that they provide. The other one is the James Center. They've asked for 10. We've historically given them 5. My suggestion would be to do 5 again. But they do a lot for the underprivileged people in our community. And that's the only two that I would suggest that we do, and I'll leave, it, obviously, it's y'all's choice, so thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm under the impression that you and Mr. Malone are gonna take care of the senior citizen building. Is that still a go?
That is correct.
Okay.
That's the will of, that'd be the will of y'all. My pockets ain't that deep.
Has anyone else got any,
Which two did he say, Mid-Cumberland and?
James Adult Activity Center for $5,000 and MCHRA for $30,838?
Mr. Grieber, did, James Center ask, or you just, okay.
Yeah, they submitted an application for 10, and I'll say this, on the Mid-Cumberland, I would recommend doing 25, not the request that they sent. They've taken over Highland Rim Head Start, that's a 5,000. We've donated 20,000 to them in the past, so if we made their whole contribution 25,000, we would be doing what we've done the previous year.
So, what we have suggested, without any other, I'm sorry, Mr. Hooper.
That's okay, Mr. Hooper, I appreciate it.
Confused?
We're treading on thin water with a lot of people by doing this, by picking and choosing. That's my opinion, and this is donation money, you know, and I understand. I'm not saying, I think every one of these organizations on this list do a lot of good, every stinking one of them. I'm not going to deny that, but I understand Mr. Malone wants to take care of one of the senior citizens. Mr. McGreevy will take care of the other one. I'm fine with that. But every organization on this list does good for the county. Right. And if we start saying, well, you don't do enough good, so we're not going to fund you with any donation money, it's either all or none for Jerry Hooper. I'm just saying that I think that we start picking and choosing, we're going to open up some bad wounds. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Mr. Hooper.
One thing I would like to point out, though, is that you have human resource agencies that are actually out here working day in and out, and I agree with you. They are all certainly worthy. Conversations that we've had in the past is that we're collecting taxpayer fund, and the 14 decide who it goes to. So we've talked about reducing it and getting it down as low as we could. I'm down to 2, but I leave that totally up to you, knowing that we have the Waverly Senior Center and the McEwen Senior Center taken care of. But look, this is y'all's call. I'll work at your will. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Helping hands is not a bad one, is it?
Mr. Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. Hooper. I can echo the sentiment of Mr. Jerry Hooper as well. I have heard a lot of comments about this in the past few weeks as well. And I understand Mr. Pagreva's connection to the Mid-Cumberland Human Resources Agency. They do a lot of work. They're also federally funded, state funded, United Way funded, and they have private donations. I'm not saying their work is any less important. But if you look at Joseph Storehouse that handles over 1,000 meals a month at the interstate with people and women that are trying to get away and trying to get to safe places and different things, you're looking at a lot of different things. The Humane Society, they are continually holding fundraisers. There's not anything on there that is not deserving. Now, if you want to look at it realistically and say, hey, what could we really do for every one of these? We would have to knock the price down for each one of them and to make something even across the board. Does that make it happy for everybody? No, but are they going to get something? Yes, I would hope. So, you know, that's a discussion to have if you want to think about it another month. I'll yield, sir.
what, you hit on an interesting point. If we just give each line item $1,000 and call it a day, is that? Mr. Curtis?
First off, I love charity. I don't think it should be the government's job, our job, to give money out, take from citizens and give to others. Jerry or Mr. Hooper made a good point, but we sit here for an hour and a half debating how we don't have the money to give to the school system, and now all of a sudden we have money to give to charity. So I don't think it's our job to do this. So I love them all, but sorry, we don't have the money.
Mr. Malone?
I just wanna go on record as saying I don't think we should be giving tax dollars away.
Okay. So, Mr. Hooper?
I'd like to make a motion that we do not fund any of these organizations with this donation money from tax money.
Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Rochelle. I'm sorry, Mr. Coleman, any discussion? Mr. Coleman's first.
Before we start, I wonder where entities like the Chamber of Commerce, where are they funded? Where do they get their funding?
So if I can clarify a little bit, the Chamber of Commerce, we fund them with $25,000 that comes out of the Tennessee River Resort Act tourism dollars.
So they're already funded.
They are, and then also the Humane Society, we joint venture that with the city of Waverly, and we fund, I think it's $120,000+ that the county's already contributing to the Humane Shelter.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? So, what we're voting on is all or none, is that correct?
I think the motion was none.
Motion was none,
None. Okay.
except for Mr. Pergreba, Mr. Malone's donation to the senior citizens.
Hey, no, I'm not.
Okay. Motion made and properly seconded that we fund no request on this, sheet except for the private donation of Mr. Malone and Mr. Pagreba and the Tennessee River Resort Act funding the Chamber of Commerce. Is that correct statement?
That's correct statement, Mr. Chairman.
All right. All in favor of not funding these requests, say aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. We will. So that's 140,000 of the 300 and something thousand.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I know it's not easy. I will implement it.
Okay, the other item was debt service.
I would just like to, we've had some conversation, I hear some rumblings, but I'm telling you that with our jail project, if we put $10 million toward that project, it will save us $8,240,000 in interest alone. We have a healthy fund balance. I'm not saying that we jeopardize it. I'm not even saying that, that it has to be spent. I'm saying that we go ahead and budget it in our 171 capital account so that we have a path forward. We've got $15 million locked in with USDA at 2.25% interest, which is wonderful. It's unheard of. USDA has new regulations. If you go back to them for money, one, they can't match that interest rate. Two, every component of that jail has to be USA material, all electronics, everything else. So USDA is not going to be an option, a viable option for the remaining financing. If we pull fund balance, this was Jesse's idea when he was here, all of the funds, the interest that we've talked about this evening, building this fund balance, it makes good business sense to use it as a down payment on a capital project such as a jail. My recommendation would be to budget 10 million out of our general fund balance and allot it to the jail. The other thing it does, keeps a lot of people from just eyeballing these real high fund balances and wondering what we can spend that money on. When we're committed, I mean, look, y'all, these projects that we have, the McEwen School, the jail, the new schools, that's enough. We don't need to be looking around for what else we can spend money on. Let's take care of what you've already committed to spend without burdening our taxpayers. This is money that you could as well burn. If you want sound business advice, go out and ask the taxpayers if they want to take $8 million and burn it in barrels, because that's what you're doing. It just doesn't make sense. No one would run a business like that. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Hooper,
Mr. McGreeva, is this something that we have to budget, or is this something that we can discuss another month? Is this, you know, if we decide to try to do this, or is this something we can discuss and we can take that $10 million over the next few months, whatever, and do that? Is this something that has to be done now?
It does not have to be done now, but it would set our path for this fiscal year's budget. If you're not comfortable with it, I mean, it's not something that has to be done now, although we are incurring expenses every day up there on the nursing home site for the jail. So if we don't do something, we're going to have to go out for interim financing, which then you're doubling down. First, you're doing interim financing, and then when the project is closed, you go back and do permanent financing. So you're kind of paying interest twice. Why do that? We're sitting on $20 million. It doesn't make sense.
I understand, but I would like to have some time to think about this rather than making a decision on that tonight.
Okay,
Personally.
understand.
Mr. Curtis?
It's me.
Oh, Mr. Tidwell, I'm sorry.
Um,
I mean, I'll say something. You only do.
you said the USDA loan was 15 million, correct?
Correct.
And we're looking to spend about 30.
Well, we don't know for sure, but we somewhere between 25 and 30 is what I would guess. I hope it's closer to 25 than it is 30.
With our healthy fund balance, could we increase that to 15 and save that much more interest?
I would be reluctant to say that tonight. I'd like to get through this budget and see exactly where we're at, but 10 would get us through this next year. At least it would get us on the path. Were you thinking about increasing it?
Increasing it 15, especially we're pulling in about $2 million interest off everybody else's fund balance already, right?
Well, we are, but that's another thing, this interest stuff, as we deplete these funds, that's gonna drop drastically soon.
Not gonna be there for
Mr. Wagner?
Thank you, Mr. Hooper. Of course, we're looking at some time out before we have to make a finalize on this. As Mr. Hooper said, Mr. McGreeva said, and I'd like to invite Sheriff Davis up just to add some comments as well. I think he has some he wants to make. But if this is added to a line item, it should remain unassigned funds instead of assigned only for that, in case that funding is not spent right away. Again, yours.
I'm be happy to ask any of your questions. I just wanted to take a moment to invite everybody to come up. The process has begun. I think at the end of 10 days since they've started our project, the nursing home will be gone. If you haven't been by there already, they will probably be clear tomorrow, and I think they was going to take one last day to prep the site for them leaving. So the old nursing home is about gone, so the journey's begun. It's begun in a good way, and we're going in a good way. And I feel for each of you, the physical climate that's going on in this day and time, and sitting and watching y'all in the faces and looking at everything, I don't admire it. I know you're in a tough position, and I just appreciate everything that's been said tonight. Sometimes going back and forth is healthy because it builds knowledge, it builds ideas, and I wanted to say I admire each of you for that. I know it's a tough situation. Thank you.
Thank you,
I'll be
Sheriff.
happy to ask any of your questions on or answer any of your questions on anything, so.
Went up, last week, Sheriff, and checked out the old nursing home site.
I've been working on this project for almost 9 years and getting it ready to go, and it's been rather humbling just to finally see the dirt turning and moving forward. So I'm very proud of that.
Ms. Phillips?
Pull forward.
Okay. We need another income source because we cannot keep putting this on the property owners. Anybody who buys a license plate, you go to another county, you're gonna pay a lot more than what we pay. And I just think we need to do what needs to be done and try to get a reasonable wheel tax here. Just saying.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Any other discussion? The item before the board was debt services. Mr. Pagriba had a suggestion. What is the will of the board?
Is that a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we need to make?
A motion or not a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we table this and so we can do some more further discussion on this.
I have a motion to table. Mr. Coleman?
I have a question that probably needs to be addressed over if we allocate this, how will the money be spent? Piecemeal as needed, or how will it be allocated from the line item?
It would just be a 171 capital project for the justice or the jail, the new jail. I mean, we still haven't established a guaranteed maximum price. We're in design phase, but we're hoping to break ground late summer on the project. So this is not something that has to be done tonight. It's not something that honestly probably doesn't have to be done as part of this budget, but I think it would make good sense to set it aside for this project.
So it would be spent as expenses are incurred?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
To keep from getting an interim loan.
Correct.
I got a motion by Mr. Hooper to table the motion. Table this discussion. Ms. Phillips, do you have a question or? Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Daniels. All in favor of tabling this discussion till a later date, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's all I had. Is that all you had? All I had. I now turn this, we gotta go back to the commissioner meetings. Now adjourn this administrative committee meeting and go back to full commission. Mr. Greba, it's all yours.
Thank you for an interesting evening. Let's all think about going home. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Rochelle, we have a second.